Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're going to completely shatter the illusion of standard real estate accounting and give you the actual tools the pros use to evaluate a REIT. We're essentially handing you the real estate investor's true compass, so you can actually navigate the markets without getting completely fooled by all the paperwork. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's look at this wild paradox. Standard accounting ledgers claim that a building loses value every single year, right? They basically treat a towering shopping mall like a brand new car driving off a lot, steadily depreciating all the way down to zero. But meanwhile, out in the real world, that exact same property might have literally doubled in price over the last 15 years.
So when basic net income fails us by factoring in this totally phantom depreciation, we have to just throw out the old metrics and find the real number. Look, generally accepted accounting principles require these deductions for sure, but they heavily distort a REIT's actual cash flow. When the books in reality disagree this badly, smart investors don't just sit there and accept the books, they change them.
Enter FFO, or Funds from Operations. Author Ralph Block calls this the primary yardstick for REITs, and for good reason. It takes that non-cash depreciation and adds it right back into net income. Why? To reveal the actual, undeniable cash-generating power of the trust. It also strips out one-time cash inflows, like, say, money earned from selling an asset, giving you a crystal-clear look at the cash flowing in from just regular, everyday business activities. Basically, FFO is your baseline for truth.
Let's actually run the numbers to see how this looks on a balance sheet. Say a REIT reports $100 million in net income and $40 million in real estate depreciation and amortization. Boom, your true FFO is $140 million. That's the actual cash engine of the business right there. And here's why this is an absolute game changer. If that REIT's market cap is $2.8 billion, you divide that by your $140 million FFO, and you find it trades at a multiple of 20 times FFO. That is the golden figure you use instead of a standard PE ratio.
This whole thing brilliantly illustrates exactly why we add depreciation back. Treating an appreciating real estate asset like some rusting piece of factory machinery is, well, technically allowed by accountants, but it's economically absurd. It's honestly like a farmer writing off his fertile soil as worn out on his taxes, while the harvest gets bigger and bigger every single year.
But wait, we need to zoom in even closer. Let's talk about AFFO, or Adjusted Funds from Operations. This metric takes that FFO number we just calculated and subtracts the real-world maintenance costs. We're talking things like routine roof replacements, painting, as well as the straight lining of rents. Because, let's be real, buildings do require some actual upkeep to keep generating cash. AFO shows you the absolute true free cash available to pay your dividends.
Now check this out, because this is a massive red flag. A coverage ratio of 112%. What does that actually mean? It means the REIT is paying out more in dividends than its AFFO actually generates. Think about it. If a REIT earns 95 cents per share in AFFO, but turns around and pays out $1.07, yeah, that math simply does not work long term.
The crucial takeaway here is that an excessively high yield like that is not sustainable income. It's literally just a countdown timer to a dividend cut. It boils down to a simple golden rule. A REIT paying distributions larger than its AFO is eating itself alive. It's bridging the gap by paying you with borrowed money, or even worse, just returning your own capital right back to you. Always check the AFO payout.
Okay, so now that you can confidently read the balance sheet and find a REIT's true cash engine, let's look up at the skyline with our macro tool. Welcome to the endlessly repeating four-phase space market cycle. Literally every commercial property market on Earth rides this wheel, and understanding it is your secret weapon for timing your investments.
We start way down at the bottom, in the depression and recovery phases. Vacancies are super high, rents are dirt low, and absolutely nobody is building. But, this naturally leads to expansion. As the economy recovers, demand starts to stir. Rents climb sharply, vacancies fall, and suddenly, because profits look so great, the construction cranes finally appear on the horizon.
But here's the catch. Eventually, those cranes finish all at once. Everyone rushed in to capitalize on the boom, which triggers Phase 3, hypersupply. This violently tips the market right into Phase 4, a recession, as mountains of brand new space completely outrun tenant demand. Occupancy plateaus, vacancy rises, and rent growth goes negative. Eventually, the whole thing washes out, and the cycle just begins anew.
To see this play out in the real world, just look at the Singapore office market back in the mid-2010s. Developers were building like crazy during an expansion, but when all that fresh supply hit the market,
A textbook hypersupply spike caused grade A rents to plummet by roughly 20% in just 2 short years. If you weren't counting the cranes, you got absolutely caught in the downturn. But hey, the smart investors who bought during that gloom, they rode the recovery straight up.
So, let's run a quick cycle check to test out your new toolkit. Imagine rents are rising fast, vacancy keeps falling, and new construction projects are launching absolutely everywhere you look. If you're a REIT investor looking to deploy some capital right now, what phase are you actually buying into? You're in expansion for sure, but you're in the late innings. Notice that today's construction starts our tomorrow's hypersupply, which means the absolute best time to get cautious is exactly when everyone else is getting greedy. When the sky is completely full of cranes, you better believe the wheel is about to turn. By combining FFO to find a REIT's true cash engine and the space market cycle to time your entry, you can now read real estate markets like an absolute pro. You use the financial metrics to know what high-quality asset to buy, and you use the macro cycle to know exactly when it's actually safe to buy it.
And now that you're armed with the right metrics and the macro cycle, join us in the next Explainer, where we'll cover 60 years of REIT history in 90 seconds and absolutely smash the 2 massive myths that keep scared investors poor. Until then, ask yourself, when you look at a real estate investment today, are you trusting the accounting illusions or are you actually counting the cranes?